Calvin Castine at Olympic Stadium, September 18th, 2001. It's been exactly 1 week ago today that the World Trade Center was destroyed by terrorists. The Pentagon was attacked by terrorists. And yesterday, on Monday, was the first game back for Major League Baseball. Baseball took a week off in honor of the situation. However, the fans in Montreal apparently decided to take a little more than a week off. Last night's attendance, official attendance, was about 3,100. Actual attendance was at least half of that, if not less than half of that. We've heard estimates on the actual crowd last night of being from 900 to 1,500, which is a remarkably low turnout for a Major League Baseball game. The Florida Marlins are here in town. The Florida Marlins are about 6 games ahead of the Expos in the National League. In the East Division, Marlins are in 4th, the Expos are in 5th place. And any hope that the Expos have for continuing has got to be diminished when a crowd like that, or actually you can't use the word crowd, but a turnout like that results on a day when people are showing that they want to get back to normal life, and nobody shows up here at Olympic Stadium. And this is a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. John Zerlo is here with me. We have one other person here in the stands in right field. Over in left field during batting practice, we see 3, 4 people in the left field bleachers. So chances are all 4 of those people will leave here with a souvenir baseball, unless somebody decides to take them all. There's going to be at least 4 balls that end up out in those left field bleachers. John Zerlo was mentioning as we walked out here, just to give you an idea of how vacant the situation is here at Olympic Stadium, that these are pretty good seats, and this is a nice view here. We're behind the right fielder. You get a very nice view of the batter and the pitcher and the whole infield. You get a very nice view of the ballpark. And these seats are $8 seats, Canadian money. And still, people will not come out and watch Major League Baseball here at Olympic Stadium. When you have a turnout as low as last night's turnout, and last night's turnout was probably lower than the lowest game that the Vermont Expos had this year in Burlington. When you have a turnout that low, I doubt if you make enough to pay your that guy was right where he should have been. He knew exactly where to stand. You get enough to pay your regular employees, the people who sell the hot dogs, the people who ushers, the ticket takers. They've all got to be paid before you pay those $1 million salaries. So you get a crowd as small as last night's. You don't even pay for the rank and file people, let alone the ball players. You don't pay for the people in the front office and the people and the secretaries and all those other things behind the scenes. The guy who runs the scoreboard and plays the music on the PA system, and the woman who puts the videos up on the big scoreboard, those people have all got to be paid too. So it's really a disastrous situation here in Montreal. And with the with what happened last week in Washington, one of these places that the Expos were rumored to be going was Washington, and with the not the bombing, but the destruction of part of the Pentagon, I would doubt if we'd be looking at a major league team moving into Washington during the coming season. So a lot of things that will be happening in sports, in Major League Baseball, maybe in a strange way that the disaster in New York and Washington might actually prolong the Expos' stay here in Montreal for another season. Because I really doubt if there'll be any movement to put a Major League team in Washington with the mood of the country as it is today on this 18th day of September 2001, and as it will be when we get to the meetings that'll be going on following the season, when the players and the owners negotiate what will happen in the coming years. We're down on the field now for the closing minutes of the Florida Marlins batting practice, and John Zerlo have pulled him out of right field. He thought for sure he was going to make a great catch and they'd sign him up, but nothing came your way. Otherwise, I know you would have made a great catch there, John.
I would have enjoyed attempting to make a great catch, but nothing came near me.
They knew better than to hit it the Z.
They didn't want to injure me.
John, baseball fan all your life?
Yeah, I had a pretty early start as a young boy. My father was an exceptional ball player in New York City, as was his brother. And his brother actually got to play with the Albany Senators. He was a great ball player and then went into World War II. And when he came out of the war, he wasn't quite as sharp as he was before he went in with skills. But he did play with the Albany Senators for a season or so. They were a minor league affiliate of the Boston Red Sox at the time. And we did, as a young boy, went to see him a couple of times at not Delormier, that was here in Montreal, Bleecker Stadium in Albany. And because of that background, I got interested. Of course, played a lot as a young boy and into high school, and played 3 years on my college team at St. Michael's. I was a catcher.
And a good one, I'll bet.
Well, I don't know. I was big enough, so not too much got by me.
Did you catch Lefty Tessier?
Yes, I did. Lefty was there while I was at St. Mike's, and Lefty signed after his junior year with the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course, he was a pitcher, but was involved in a collision at first base during his minor league career, and because he was such a great hitter, they made an outfielder out of him, but he never quite made it after he was injured so badly in that collision. I can remember a little story that you might like to hear. There was, when we played at St. Mike's, there was always scouts there that were scouting Lefty, of course, and as I said, he signed with the Phillies, but there was a Cub Scout there this one game. I forget who we were playing. I think it was Dartmouth, and his name was Ron Northey, and he was watching Lefty, had a stopwatch, and clocked everything he did, and Lefty batted fourth, I believe, that day, and I was fifth right after him. Lefty popped up this ball in the infield, and he hustled it out and got to second base when the fella finally caught the ball, or almost to second base. And I came up next, and I grounded to the left side and ran it out, and he threw me out at first base. And when I got back to the dugout, Ron Northey says, "Kid, come on over here a minute." So I thought he was about ready to sign me up, so I ran over there. I was getting my gear back on, catching gear, and he said, "You want to know something?" He says, "Lefty ran to second base faster than you got to first." So I knew my career was over then.
You could read the writing on the wall right there.
I could read the writing on the wall, exactly. But we had a great, lot of fun playing at St. Mike's. we had decent teams. Ed Markey was a coach. Ed later became the athletic director and a great supporter of athletics in New England, and retired recently and became a very good friend of mine.
He wasn't a good friend of yours at the time?
He wasn't a good friend when he was my baseball coach, because he was really tough and made us work hard. And of course, you're always saying something about your coach, but I admired the man. He was a wonderful man, and to this day I correspond with him and see him at reunions, and we talk about old times. Lefty was one of his all-time favorites. After he was just a great all-around athlete.
There's Lefty Tesher, also known as Warren Tesher, graduate of Our Lady of Victory Academy in Plattsburgh, and if not for that arm injury, who knows what career he might have had. His career right now, I believe he's still at Evergreen Valley Nursing Home, manager.
Yeah, he's the administrator at Evergreen, that's right. He was with Home Health Care for a while, but went back to the nursing home, was in that business for years. Also, before he came back to Plattsburgh, he was in the education system out around Elmira. He was like a superintendent of schools. So he had a nice career. By the way, his wife, Barbara, was, I believe, his nurse when he was nursing that shoulder injury. I believe that's where he met her. That was in Elmira, by the way.
So you've never dared to ask him if he wished he hadn't got hurt?
No, I don't think. I didn't want to get into that type of. But I remember when he came back to school for senior year, he had this beautiful blue Chevrolet that, of course, he bought and paid for with his bonus money, and we were all in awe of him because he was doing so well. But what a great young man. He was a great young boy growing up in Plattsburgh, and just became a great adult and a superhuman being. Glad to have him as a friend.
Now, I know you said on the way down that not only you, but your brother Eugene. Gene is also a Red Sox fan. How about your father? Was he more enlightened? Was he a Yankee fan?
No, my father and mother, of course, came up here in 1935, and my father came up to, of course, be superintendent at the Sheridan Company in Champlain, and later general manager and vice president. But he came from Brooklyn. He and my mother were born and raised in Brooklyn, and certainly they were Dodger fans through and through. And my father took me, I can remember going to Ebbets Field, before I was 10 years old. And I might also add that my wife, Mary, she was and still is a great baseball fan, and she attended the first World Series that the Dodgers won. I think she was present at 3 games during that World Series. Her uncle and her cousin were with her.
Was she there when that guy from Mineville won that last game?
Johnny Padres, yes, she was, and we talk about that very often. Of course, as you know, my neighbor Janice Dawson is a first cousin to John, so we get into conversation about John quite often. And another little situation, anecdote that you might like to know, Johnny Padres' brother, Wally, they used to call him Hoopy, Wally Padres came to St. Michael's during the time I was there. I was a dorm director my junior year, and Wally was assigned to my dorm, and I can remember the day he came in, and I could see his name tag, Wally Padres, and of course I followed his heroics from the Mineville Red Flame, I believe they were at the time, before Mariah Central, and Wally was in my dorm, and of course we talked about, that was in 1958, I believe, and of course his brother was very popular at that time. It was right after his World Series heroics, and he used to come to pick Wally up at St. Michael's, and he was very nice to all of us. He'd sit and chat with us and tell us about things, and he was always so neatly dressed, and he used to drive a big white Chrysler. So those are some memories that you never forget.
All right, they've taken the batting cage off, which means we've got to get off here so they can prepare the field, and we might have a scene or two from the ball game. If not, we'll be picking up this visit to Olympic Stadium in the clubhouse following the game.
Inning 1 hit, 1 strikeout.
Brad Penny, on the other hand, you faced him 3 times this year. You haven't scored against him yet.
No, I know it. We're getting better though. We got 1 hit the last time.
I'll look for positives.
Absolutely.
What seems to make him so tough against you guys?
He throws hard. He's got a good live arm and a good sharp breaking ball. We hit some balls hard. You know, they made some nice defensive plays. The play was made on the ball Lee Stevens hit with it to runner at third. That was a heck of a play. Ball hit off the mound, I guess, and took a cut back toward him a little bit, or that ball's through. Of course, we've made some great defensive plays too. Cabrera just continues every night. It's just unbelievable. I mean, you talk about sparkling defensive plays. It's beyond that now. That's becoming, the sparkling is routine for him. Now it's sensational.
You were too happy about the warning. What was the issue?
You know, warning on a breaking ball. We got a guy with a skull fracture, and another guy almost gets hit in the head. There's no warning. We got a warning on a breaking ball, a slow curveball at that. That's not a very good sign of what they think how we would retaliate. Yeah.
What was his explanation?
Said he wasn't behind the plate the night before, and he couldn't handle the night before his decision had nothing to do with it. I said, well, you're the crew chief. But I couldn't believe it. It was after, he said it was after a home run. I said,
How close did you come to the concussed?
oh, I don't know. You can tell I don't have much voice left, so we were hooting a little bit.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Against Penny a couple times this year. He's always had really good stuff. So when he's on, locating his fastball like that, he's tough to hit. And, he certainly was on tonight, so you got to give him credit.
You ran into a hot hitter in Wilson.
Yeah, I saw after I came in that he's hit like 17 straight or 16 straight. He's so strong that even if you make a good pitch, sometimes he's able to muscle it out of the ballpark. And I'd have to look and see where the location of the breaking ball was, but I don't think it was a terrible pitch. Not exactly where I wanted to throw it, but when somebody's hot like that, being as strong as he is, that's what he's capable of doing.
Mike, what was your reaction?
I was surprised. I mean, it was obviously a curveball, but looking back on it from the umpire's perspective, maybe he was blocked off and wasn't able to see that it was a breaking ball. All he saw was, obviously Preston getting hit. So, I mean, that's fine if they want. That's what they want to do to keep the game under control. I have no problem with that. I wasn't planning on hitting the next guy, so I figured I was going to stay in the game anyway.
Manager seemed to be a little more than surprised about it.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw what happened yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't intentional, but certainly I wasn't intentionally hitting Preston either. So, whatever they feel they have to do, they're going to do. So.
What have you been doing differently the last 3 straight? There were 3 straight really strong innings. It's been
Really just trying to keep a positive attitude throughout the whole game, regardless of the situation or whether there's guys on. If I make a bad pitch, just kind of blow it off. So mentally, I felt a lot sharper, a lot more positive. And Torborg has really pounded in to us to keep the ball down. He says it all the time: just keep the ball down, keep the ball down.